What's up, people? Thank you for tuning in to once again, we don't have a name for the show. Thank you for tuning in, period. That's it. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Jay and Cass here. This night is going to be full of random wrestling topics, whatever just pops off of our mind, whatever we want to talk about in that one moment. We will talk about it. And also, if you happen to be watching this live right now, you see on the screen there is an option for you to call into the show. So if that is something that you're interested in doing, calling into the show, getting on the line with us, asking us questions, making any comments, concerns, whatever it may be, feel free to do so. You can do so at 347-857-2401. Again, that number is right on the screen there. What's up, Cass? Yeah, we have to definitely give out condolences to that. That's the big story in the world right now. Absolutely terrible tragedy. Hopefully, something is done to the point where these deaths aren't in vain. And I won't even go there. I'm just gonna leave it there because I was about to slip into my political hat on. Like, I don't even know if you know this, but when I started out on YouTube, I started out making like they were a mix of videos. Some of the videos were no, it was actually like I would incorporate many different topics into one video, and I would do like wrestling, then I would do politics and entertainment and stuff like that. So yeah, like I was about to slip back into that political mode, but I'm gonna put that off to the side. Definitely, we're thinking about those people and hoping for the speedy recovery to all of the ones who are fortunately still with us. But yeah, wrestling topics that we have to talk about here. I know you watched NXT Takeover, the end, and we talked about this on our last show that we did, the possibility of like, we knew NXT was going to continue, but Triple H, of course, he was screwing with us with that title, the end, and it actually does have a legit meaning. It just wasn't the end of the rivalry between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. They were talking about how this is the end of the beginning for NXT, signaling a new era. And one of the big factors that is going to affect this new era of NXT is what's happening on the main roster, this WWE brand split, this impending draft. And it's been speculated, I think it's actually been said by Triple H himself, that NXT will be affected by this draft. Now, if we could create our own perfect world, what would NXT look like to you after WWE's draft? And, who's making the jump up to the big leagues, so to say? You say only two call-ups? I don't know, because oh shit, I just realized that they've just been hearing me on YouTube. I don't think they've heard you. Yeah. Okay. Shit. They're like, Jay has gone crazy. He's on here talking to himself. But I think they can hear you now. But yeah, so you say only American Alpha?
Yes, because if they really are going to like transition into this new era of NXT, they're going to need what they had to work with at the end. And I actually want to talk about that show a little bit because I actually didn't think it was a bad show, but I also didn't think it was one of their best, in my personal opinion.
But I'm gonna see if I can try to find this interview because I don't know. We may be in a situation where we're to expect a whole hell of a lot more call ups
Yeah.
than just that one team, American Alpha. But as far as NXT Takeover the End goes, I thought it was a good show.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that main event is I see it's so tough because it was a good match and really I don't have anything to complain about to be quite honest but it's just that for my level of expectation they just didn't meet it and
Yes, that's
also
what I mean.
and then I'm hearing a lot of people they were complaining about just the cage match stipulation as a whole which I can't necessarily say that caught me by surprise, but it's just that once I heard a lot of the complaints that were being made, it's like, okay, I understand it now
Well,
because
you gotta keep in mind. I mean, like when we talked about a couple weeks ago on how like NXT doesn't really do a lot of these stipulation type matches, so they're always first time.
Mhm.
So in terms of the cage match, like I actually thought the cage was fine. Like to me, it actually made TNA's steel cage look like shame compared to the one they had in
I
NXT.
mean, it's not hard to make TNA look a mess. They do a fine job of it on their own, you know.
Yeah, like there's a lot. Like it's interesting because this show. Let's actually talk about this show because there were really a lot of mixed feelings when it came to this NXT takeover because appropriately it was called the end, but you really didn't know what was going to go on with NXT afterwards. Like in the debut match with against Andreas Cien Almas versus Ty Dillinger, I actually thought that the guy that debuted he got overshadowed a
Mhm.
lot in that
Yeah.
match because here's the thing when it comes to, they do the reason for wrestling in general for these debuts is to showcase what the main guy is supposed to be showcasing to the audience so they can get familiar with them, but when you put him up against a guy like Ty Dillinger who is kind of like that guy that doesn't really get the spotlight because people want it to be because he is actually that good. And we talked about how Ty Dillinger, we would like him to be in a serious role, but he's good as a NXT enhancement talent because
Mhm.
he's just that good. So when you put him up against the guy that's debuting, it's almost like a situation where the guy that's debuting is always going to get booed anytime he's facing Ty Dillinger. And if I was booking this, I honestly, if he didn't get hurt, I would have put Elias Sampson in this role because at least you know when it comes to Elias Sampson that he'll actually get like heel heat from the crowd,
Mhm.
like, and he won't like try to. He won't like interact or like try to get over with the crowd like always. He'll actually he actually would have served a better purpose because at least you would have had a heel in the match instead of like an actual wrestling favorite if that makes sense. That way he didn't get too lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that debut for him was passable for me. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a pass because I know what
Okay.
the purpose of it was. Even though I wasn't raving about it, I wasn't jumping out of my seat excited like, oh my god, this guy is finally here. So I just say,
Yeah.
you know what, they had a match. He had a match. He's here now. I'll see what happens with him from this point on because it did present some issues, and I guess that's a problem that maybe I don't know, like have somebody there like too popular. That's a good kind of problem, you know. Let's see
Uh,
if they do anything with it with Ty Dillinger
Like
though.
yeah, oh yeah, like, that's a good point because it kind of could go two ways. Like maybe you put him up against the guy that's so popular with the crowd. Let's see if he can stand out. On the other hand, you don't want it to be a situation like where if he stands out too much, then the guy that they're trying to get over is going to get lost in the shuffle very quickly. But yeah, that was interesting. Like there's really not much negative. There's not going to be any negative when it comes to the Revival American Alpha
Hmm.
match. Like that match was match of the night for me. It was fantastic. I just haven't seen good chemistry from two tag teams in such a long time it's just something about those two tag teams. Like, and here's the thing: when it comes to the Revival, I feel as if those guys, okay, we're just gonna say they're very generic, like they're pretty basic, but at least they make it work because these guys are better than Blake and Murphy. And you've heard me say this, Jay, so many times on how I can stand Blake and Murphy because I think that's honestly what they were trying to turn them into. They just didn't deliver. But with the Revival, when I can feel a tag team that's just very legit and they actually care about revitalizing a division that doesn't get showcased like it used to, and they're trying their best to put it over, that's a team that I'm going to get behind all the way. And American Alpha, no issues with me from there. Like, they're amazing. I actually wish this was 2 out of 3 falls because then we probably would have seen probably the match of the year hands down.
Oh, now that you like, I didn't even consider that. Like, I was just looking at the match like it was just so awesome and boom, that's it. But like a 2 out of 3 falls stipulation on that match, that would have been friggin' nuts.
And the Revival, and the Revival winning. I get this. Jay, you and I both predicted American Alpha was going to win this hands down. But the Revival walked away with the win. And I honestly wasn't pissed off. I honestly wasn't mad because that match really could have went either way. And also, if you want to make the Revival a legit team, then honestly that was the best way to do it because you gave them credit. Not only did you give them credibility, you gave them something to sink their teeth in. Because the thing about it is, we always talk about how the NXT titles, they don't really mean much because we know they're developmental belts. We know that they don't get showcased that often. But to me, what you had with the Revival and what you did with them was that you proved that those NXT championships, all of them can actually mean something. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the Revival win them twice, then that means it's a downgrade. They're not going to go to the main roster. What this proves to me is the fact that they just put the importance and the emphasis on those championships, and they actually do mean something.
Alrighty, I don't want to turn this into like a, straight by the line takeover review because I already did one of those on the channel. But is there anything else that you like specifically wanted to talk about with this show?
I heard a lot of people talking about the Nia Jax versus Asuka match. I actually didn't think the match was that good.
Oh, I love the match.
I don't know what it is when it comes to Nia Jax in these matches, though. Like, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this, and I'm still holding to my statement. This was better than the Bayley match by far. I'm gonna admit that. Nia Jax, she's got the persona down. She's definitely gotten better immensely on the mic work. There's just something about her when she gets into the ring, it's just not clicking for me. Like, I feel as if when she does her power moves, she doesn't do a good job of, making them impactful to where the crowd's not going to, get disinterested in the match, if that makes sense.
See, it makes total sense because I used to feel that way, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But I've looked at her in the matches that she's had with NXT, and I have noticed that improvement. So while I used to think that she was that way, I don't think she is right now. And I think it's great to be in the ring with someone like Asuka because, she's a very stiff worker in herself, so you kind of have to rise to the occasion and meet her at her level, and I do think that Nia Jax was able to do that in this match with her. So yeah, I can definitely sense the change
there. Like I said, just for me, I just feel as if when it comes, she just really needs to work on that in-ring psychology.
See, I think she's working on it, and apparently this is a problem that a lot of people are noticing. I'm seeing in the chat right now, Dragol Lair. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It feels like she's just going through the motions with no emotion in it.
There you go.
See, I get that though. I get it, but I don't know. I've sensed a change ever since that second match with Bayley, and pretty much every match she's had after that. I have sensed a change. I don't know. I would just suggest you all watch back with an open mind. I understand that this is the way that you think about Nia Jax, but just check it out again.
Jay, but here's the thing though. I was so iffy on this show, I had to go back and actually watch it twice the next day.
Okay.
So I gotta say, like I said, like Nia Jax, like I have seen the approach. Like I said, like I said, the presence definitely down pat. The mic work has gotten better. It's just when she gets the big matches, it's just where she's off. Just that like I said, that's just me. Real quick on the Nakamura Aries match, for all the people saying that Aries suck, I don't know what
Who are
you
these
got.
people?
The Full Sail crowd. I don't know if you heard they were saying like he sucked during the match, because if you look at it, he was putting on work in that match. Like,
No, maybe it was just like them actually responding to a heel.
I don't know. Like I'm not giving them that much credit, because honestly, this Full Sail crowd, I don't know if you thought this, but I actually thought they were annoying most of the nights. Like them singing the Nakamura's thing, that to me that was annoying.
It's like many times I wanted to be like, just shut up and watch the goddamn match. Just sit down, because like me knowing Nakamura and seeing all of his matches in well, not all of them, but seeing some of his matches in Japan, like the Japanese wrestling crowd is so vastly different from the American wrestling crowd, because let's go ahead and call a spade a spade. American wrestling crowds are fucking obnoxious. They really are. Like it's a lot of folks, like they do things for the specific purpose of making sure that they're heard, and so they can go back home and watch on TV and say, "Oh, well, that's what I did." And I mean, shit, I'm guilty of it too. Because I've gone to wrestling shows with signs and stuff like that, and SummerSlam, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, I held my sign up. If Cena wins, we rationally discuss this on PWTR.
Oh, God.
And when I got home, I was like, "Yeah, that was me. That was me right there." And so, like, I mean, it's fun to do, but still, I don't know, like, I'm not saying that they should be locked up or they should have their First Amendment rights taken away.
They're having fun. Like here's the thing, they're having fun, but it's just like here's the thing. We can't really say this as much, because if you're at a wrestling event, you're of course gonna like do strange things, but it's like it can go both ways, because it's like you're sitting at home and you're hearing the crowd, you're like telling them to be quiet. However, the crowd might actually be having a good time. And the funny thing is, Nakamura, he actually wasn't even acknowledging that they were singing his theme song. And also, I didn't like the way that match ended, because why would Aries like go for a like dive immediately when Nakamura is like looked like he's about to get like counted out? And honestly,
I talked about this in my review that I did of it. If you remember the story going into the match, it was Austin Aries feeling some type of way about the fact that there were
like he doesn't have a place.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a place. Like there are a lot of people in NXT getting more attention than him, and one of those people being Shinsuke Nakamura. They kind of like came to NXT around the same time, and Nakamura's star has exploded. Friggin' exploded. This guy is on the tip of everybody's tongue. Everybody's talking about him. Everybody is raving about Nakamura. So Austin Aries is looking at him like, damn it, you're getting all of the attention that I deserve. So him going into that match, he didn't want to beat Nakamura by count out. He wanted to emphatically defeat him, to say that I am better than you. And looking at it from that perspective and looking at his motive for the things that he did, I appreciate that. I do.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of does make sense. But that was just me. And also, it's kind of funny on how like some people get on Roman Reigns sometimes, the fact that like he doesn't do a lot of wrestling moves, he just does like 5 moves and that's it. Nakamura does the same too. If you watch his matches, like his strong style is so stiff, and honestly, it looks like he can only hit like 5 kicks and or 5 moves, and he just automatically wins. And honestly, I felt Aries should have won here. Like I really do feel as if he should have won here, because where do you go with Aries from here? Because obviously, I don't think he's going to be in the title picture, because he lost to Nakamura. And plus, I don't know if I've talked to you. I think I've talked to you about this off air. But if Nakamura was going to lose, I think it should have been last week, because I'm afraid they're going to get into a situation where Nakamura can't lose a match.
Well,
I think they're getting. I have a feeling they're going to get to that point to where Nakamura can't lose a match. But here's the thing:
they're like building him up too strongly?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing about that though, because he's about to ascend to another level in NXT. Like, I don't know if you've heard this, but spoiler alert, Nakamura is going for the gold. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but he's going to be involved with. And Triple H actually said this himself. He said he's going to start looking at Nakamura to move his way to the title picture. And
Really?
yeah, there was an interview after Takeover on Triple H's Facebook page. He was. I forget the new interview.
I think he was just teasing that, to be honest, because he didn't go out specifically say that he wanted to take Nakamura to the championship.
Well, there are some spoilers out for NXT though.
Oh yeah, like the possibility that we could see Nakamura versus Balor in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and of course, like if you jump to the point where you're fighting the former champion, then what's the only way that you can go up from that point if you end up defeating him?
That is true, but like I said, I just don't want them to get to a point to where Nakamura can't lose a match. Because here's the thing, Nakamura, he's such an iconic figure, and he has just so much charisma. He can honestly lose a match, and it would not hurt his credibility, not one bit. I don't want it to be a Brock Lesnar situation where he can't lose a match, because then we're going to be right back to the situation before. And the way that they built up Aries, he should have went over all the way. And that way, Nakamura, like I said, he's such an iconic figure, and the people just love him so much that the fact that anytime a person that faces Nakamura is automatically going to get booed, because that's how much he's loved, and that's how much credibility he won't lose.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens, but I do understand where you're coming from in saying that he could have lost. He definitely could have, and he could have recovered very quickly. But apparently, they have different plans for him. And speaking of the different plans, like I want to go back to the NXT, the possible raid that's coming to NXT. If you had things your way, who would you move up to the main roster?
As much as I love American Alpha being in NXT and them doing great things, I took them up. Nakamura, you say they have big things, but I also would bring him up. Bobby Roode, I don't know if you heard, he made his debut at NXT Download. I would bring him up. Joe and Aries, I honestly would have them stay. Well, I think I have one more, and you're going to think this is weird. I would bring Elias Sampson up, to be honest with you.
Why?
Because I think he could honestly just be that new punching bag for WWE superstars and main event.
Shit, they got enough of them already. But I could definitely see American Alpha up on the main roster. Who else?
What about Alexa Bliss?
Nah, she's not ready. I don't think so. Plus, there's a lot of bullshit and fuckery going on in the women's division.
Oh yes, a lot.
They need to get stuff situated over there.
Oh yes.
Before we add anybody else in. Who else? I want Samoa Joe on the main roster.
Really? But we could get a lot of dream matches with him in NXT though.
We could get the ultimate dream match with him on the main roster.
Yes, but he's got stuff to do. He's got stuff to do first on NXT before we get to that point.
See, I don't know if you guys know this, but my number one dream match out of any, if you give me the option to have any match, number one, Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. I so fucking want to see that match. My God. Like, people were talking about all this, because we just talked about this on the last episode of PWF Empire Live, because Mark Hunt, Brock Lesnar's opponent in UFC, apparently he's Samoan, and we were talking about how this is not the Samoan badass that people want to see defeat Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, well, shit, Roman Reigns ain't the Samoan badass I want to see
Samoa Joe.
Brock Lesnar. I want to see Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. Man, talk about
I want to see that too.
Colliding. my God. So, like, the only way that that can happen is if Samoa Joe is on the main roster. So that kind of needs to happen for me to see that match. Even though I highly doubt WWE would ever do it, but shit, a dream match. I'm quite sure people out there have their dream matches too.
Yeah.
That's going to be the question that I ask you guys. What is your dream match? And I would say that, I don't know, if you want to break it up into two different things, like a match that's not possible and the match that somehow, some way could be possible. Go ahead, let us know your.
Does tag team wrestling count?
Of course. I wouldn't say no with you here.
Because I have a lot of dream matches. I would put American Alpha in. Like, oh boy, I would love to see them against New Day. I honestly would like to see them against the Dudley Boys. Like, there's just so many possibilities with these cops. And honestly, I would also bring up Finn Balor. But here's the thing. Yeah, but let me ask this question. We bring these guys up, but if this brand split does happen, who would you put them on?
See, it depends.
If we had like a attaching division exclusively to SmackDown, or like exclusively to SmackDown, that's where I would put American Alpha at.
See, yeah, and we have Ryan Ward over there too. Shit, like that's where all of my people are going. SmackDown, where we have the proven writer over there, and plus it's someone who's familiar with them too, familiar with their character traits, and familiar with like the building blocks of who they are as people. So I think that would be good. Finn Balor up on the main roster.
He's on Raw for me.
I'm nervous about that because I look at Finn Balor, like you can't have him as that demon persona with some bullshit. Like, it has to be something serious. And I'm hoping... See, it's so difficult for us to try to place people from NXT on the main roster.
Because we don't know what to expect.
Exactly. We don't know what to expect from this brand split, how things are going to change. We don't even know if things are going to change. But what I will say, though, it's a little disheartening because WWE should be preparing for the brand split now.
And it doesn't feel like they are. And the the funny thing about it is, like, we talk about all these call-ups, and here's the funny thing. I don't know if did you watch the Breaking Ground Reloaded edition after Takeover? Of course.
Yes.
When I watched that too, and by the way, that was a fabulous. You
notice how they spent like 30 seconds on Tyler Breeze and then just moved on. Yeah, we don't want to give too many details about that one. We're just gonna, nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, but people, just let you know, me and Jay, we are always pissed off of the last episode of Breaking Ground.
Yes.
Before I went off, we're always gonna be pissed off. But yeah, but Triple H saying like he had all those call-ups, and honestly, like, cause we've talked about this, like, on how, like, talk about the difficulty of the transition from NXT to the main roster is. Now imagine the way the brand split's gonna be when you bring up these costs, because Apollo Crews, Tyler Breeze, and the rest of them, hell, even Baron Corbin, they're having difficulty just being on one show and getting over. Imagine how this brand split's going to happen when you have about five others come from NXT, and not to mention the fact that, like, the reason why NXT is the way it is because of those guys, and we didn't have the brand split, so they had long term. But when you do that, you can't really, like, here's the thing, you can't have way too many costs, because then NXT is just left with all the green people.
Well, I've been hearing some rumors about WWE going and raiding the independents and possibly bringing in more people to replace some of the folks who will eventually be called up to the main roster. And they're like telling them, if you say anything about it, you know,
like
your ass is grass. So, of course, those are just rumors, but I look at what has been done in NXT, and I have faith, because
I'm a little worried.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried.
I'm definitely worried, but I still have faith, because I've seen what they've done with people like Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, who they had them, built them from the ground up to, and also a team like the Revival. None of those guys were big stars on the indie scene, but they come to WWE and they're in NXT and they build their characters up. They develop those characters to the point where we actually, like them and can relate to them and things like that. And they're awesome. So I'm hoping that with the great foundation that NXT has, you can, I don't know if I would necessarily say like a revolving door, but shit, maybe that's what it has to be. And you just like find those people to fill those slots and make sure it has to be kind of like balanced, though. You have to have like a certain sense of balance. You have to have those established indie guys. You have to have a certain percentage of them on the roster, then of your noobs, your green folks, and then the folks in the middle who are still developing. Like, as long as you have that nice balance between those three, then you're going to be on a good road. And just look at the women's division. Look how...
let's talk about that women. Let's talk about the women's division. Like, I mean, Jay,
I like what I was saying is that, like, the core four, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. 75% of them are gone, and the women's division is still survived. This is our first match.
It's somewhat survived.
See, I like it though. They still have issues because I think Carmella and Alexa Bliss, like they
are not up there yet. They are just not there.
They need work in both of them. I like both of them, but I'm gonna go ahead and admit they do need work. But in my eyes, them to have the very first match in a very long time that didn't include anyone from the core four, for it to be successful, I think that it says a lot about what they're doing down in NXT, and I'm hoping that process continues.
But yeah, and here's the thing. That's one of the best thing about the live events, if you think about it, for NXT, because not only does it give them a chance to like grow and development out there, but now when you get them familiar with the audience outside of Full Sail, so it's almost like a situation when they do get to Full Sail, they at least have enough recognition behind them. Like, the women, like you just mentioned, the women's, like, it's in a rebuilding process in NXT because it was so revolved around the core four of those women, and they set the bar. And I honestly don't think anybody expected the bar to be set that high.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like gives the fans the notion of like, okay, every NXT Women's Championship is going to be a 5-star matchup. And now we're kind of starting to see the process. Do you think, I actually kind of think like they put so much focus on them, they kind of like not really left them off to the wayside, but kind of like didn't like utilize them a bunch more, because it's almost like that's honestly with any division. Like, if you have like your top guys going for like, or if they're in a story or if they're going for a championship, then that's when you start developing other guys. So that way, once that story or that championship match is over with, you at least have some contenders that feel legit and they feel ready. So that way, when they get to the storyline or the match that they're going to be in, it's not going to be like a weak process. It's not like from strong to like weak. You want to go from strong to strong.
Well, I guess the whole developmental process of the talent, it's not an easy process.
Oh yeah, it's not.
And then we also do have to take into account like a lot of the folks down in NXT are on different levels, because like we were just talking about, if you were doing a rack and stack of the women down in NXT, you have Bayley, Asuka, Nia Jax, and then who comes next?
Alexa Bliss, Carmella, but that's probably by default.
Yeah, it's by default. Like, they still need a whole hell of a lot of work, and I don't know, like, it's...
I think they can do it, especially Alexa Bliss, to be quite honest with you. I'm so surprised she has not gotten, like, an actual NXT women's title match at a TakeOver. That I'm not gonna lie, that kind of shocked me, because remember when Alexa Bliss first started, that whole, like, little Cinderella blue ballerina type crap that we got?
My Little Pony.
Yes, that My Little Pony stuff that we got. Yes, she went back and she rebuilt her. So tremendously, and Carmella, like, she's definitely stepped up her in-ring game since managing Enjoy Cash. So yes, there is development there. But like here's the thing, even Carmella got a television NXT Women's Championship match, and I don't know if you saw that match today, but she didn't do too bad in that one.
Yeah.
So, and that was on a big stage. Remember, they were in Full Sail when that happened. They were outside of that, so it proves that she can do it on a bigger stage. But what's it gonna be like when it matters?
Okay, I want to go back and read some of these comments. I see people were posting their dream matches. Daniel Bryan versus Nakamura.
Oh man,
Shield triple threat. I've given up on the Shield triple threat, to be quite honest.
we need. Can we please talk about that? Because I have a lot of implications.
Hold on, before we get there, because like, shit, all of them are pissing me off right now. Every last one of them.
Which ones?
The Shield guys, like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, have done nothing in this feud. Nothing at all that is interesting.
Oh yeah. What were the other dream matches that they had?
Shawn Michaels versus Daniel Bryan.
We could have got that, you know.
It looked as if at one point he was going to come out of retirement, because I'm like, why the hell is he all on TV? You know, mixing it up with Daniel Bryan, and you know, nothing ever came of that one though. Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Owens versus Lesnar. Sasha versus Asuka. Well, that rhymes. Sasha, Asuka. See, I was thinking about that one too, but for me, as much as I love Sasha, and I don't even have to tell you guys, I would put Becky versus Asuka over Sasha versus Asuka. For some reason, because Becky, like with those suplexes and just with her style, I think it would work better with Asuka. Nakamura versus John Cena. Owens versus Nakamura. Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn. Oh, that's babyface overload right there.
Yes.
The Machine Guns versus London and Kendrick. Orton versus Brock Lesnar. Yes. I want to see that.
We are never going to get that.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, like, we got it a long time ago, but it wasn't like...
The Vixen days of SmackDown.
It wasn't like Brock versus Randy.
It was young Brock and young Randy.
Yeah.
But so no, very young Brock versus very young Randy.
Mm-hmm. Young Burks versus American Alpha. Some really good choices there. Yeah, I like that. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt.
I've been begging for that one to happen.
See, the funny thing about that one is, like, I would love the promos, love the video packages, love the entrances. Like, shit, you could save the match. Like, just do all of the stuff that leads into a match, but like not the match itself. But
you know what's funny, Jay? A lot of these matches, well, besides like the Young Bucks and the rest of them, but a lot of these matches WWE can actually do. Like, they still have the time to do it, but it's just like, for some reason, when it comes to the writing, like, let's just face it, Jay, WWE's writing and the product in general right now, it's not at its best when it comes to WWE, because they're just so piss poor when it comes to the writing. So some of the dream matches that we actually could have gotten, and maybe we still could get, it's just WWE just not focused. They have trouble focusing on more than one thing.
Yeah, and also when you talk about a person like Brock Lesnar, he's in a very protected position in WWE, so it's hard to talk about a dream match with somebody like Brock Lesnar. Like, I know Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens, that shit is not going to happen. I would love to see it, and I think we talked about this before WrestleMania, what was it? We talked about this a few months ago, and I was like, based off of the way that WWE is approaching their booking of Kevin Owens, it's not going to happen. Like, you can tell that they're like, this guy isn't even on his level. And we see what happens when we get Brock Lesnar into a feud with somebody who really isn't on his level. Even when you have the ability to catapult him somewhere near where Brock is, it didn't happen. And that's why I'm pissed off at Dean Ambrose right now.
And you know what sucks? He actually might win. He actually might win Sunday.
And this is going to be the same shit that they did, what was it, last year. This get out of jail free. He's had such BS booking, but it's like, we're gonna let him ride the coattails of what's going on with the people he was in a group with,
Yeah.
and as they succeed, he's gonna succeed too. I don't like that at all. They had the perfect, perfect opportunity to do something with that guy at WrestleMania, and
They failed.
I could have gone to the concession stand during that match. That's
I mean,
how insignificant.
let's just face it. Like we say, we're gonna keep saying it. That feud hurt him, and the match hurt him. And I'm gonna keep saying this. It's hard for me to take Dean Ambrose seriously because that was the feud that was supposed to put him over. That was supposed to be the one that shot him to the moon. Instead, they just simply were like, Lesnar, he's got too much on him. Like, he's got too much credibility, so Ambrose is unfortunately going to have to eat this. Like, do they not realize, like, when you put a guy in that type of situation and he keeps losing, that's not going to get him over, no matter how. And you know what's the funny thing? We always hear in wrestling on how, like, if you can't cut a promo, then your in-ring work doesn't matter. Well, in this situation, if you haven't been booked properly, it doesn't matter how good your promo skills are or your in-ring work, because if you keep losing, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, because there are some folks on the roster, like, I love to pick on Dolph Ziggler because he's a damn scrub.
Leave ramen noodled hair alone.
But yeah, it's just like some people with the way that they're booked by WWE, and it sucks that I take it out on them because we know it's the writers and everything, but shit, I don't have to say that all the time. We know it. We know it's the writers, but still, that's the character that's out there, and that's the person that has to live that story and things like that. But yeah, when it comes to Dean Ambrose, I'm not even saying he had to win the match at WrestleMania. Just have a good showing. Yeah. Make a story out of it. Like, the guy is, pooching around right now like the match never fucking happened. Maybe he got his bell rung so hard that that wasn't even it, because he didn't even really get like a like whooped like Brock Lesnar could have.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of people want the Shield reunion to happen. I'm like, honestly, don't you want all three established first as singles guys? So that way when the Shield reunion does happen, it's not going to be a situation where, we got to put these guys back together because we don't know what to do with Dean Ambrose and we know the fans are going to like it anyway. Like, Roman Reigns has progressed tremendously. Well, somewhat. And
I don't know. Well, that was true before this feud. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah, that's true. But Seth Rollins, I mean, honestly, Jay, I know you didn't like his character in 2015 by far, but he's had some. Yeah, but you have to admit, he's had some improvements. He's improved since the Shield. Roman Reigns has improved since the Shield. However, Dean Ambrose, when you look at him, what has he done?
He got a world title feud with Seth Rollins that he shouldn't have.
Exactly. Like, honestly, I want the Shield to come back. I do want them to come back, but I want all three established first, because if they come back together because one of them is not established enough and they only did because they don't know what to do with them, then it's not going to mean nothing. Like, it really is not going to mean nothing. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm actually going to make a TNA reference, people, so get ready.
Oh, Lord.
Beer Money got back together back in January. James Storm and Bobby Roode had good singles runs, and they're former world champions. So when they got back together, it was fun. It was actually fun for me to watch, and I actually enjoyed it. That's how I want the Shield to be. That's how I want the Shield to be. So when they get back together, it'll be awesome, and I honestly cannot wait for that Ambrose Asylum tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Maybe we'll actually get something good out of the guys live in the arena for this.
I honestly think this is a teaser for the Shield Triple Threat at Money in the Bank. I'm not going to lie. I think it is.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I used to want to see that match so bad to the point where I'm buying tickets to shows because I'm like, okay, it's going to happen here, trying to project out, like, when the hell is this match going to happen? And
they haven't done it.
Yeah. I don't care now. They got to make me care again. But
I can't wait for Rollins and Reigns. The match.
Yeah. Let's cross our fingers and hope no BS happens within the next 7 days. Because this is going to be the third time that they're going
Yes.
for a one-on-one match between these two guys on a pay-per-view. First time, Reigns got injured. Second time, Rollins got injured. This time...
And you would think WWE would try to play off that. You would think they would try to play off that. Because they're labeling this as a WrestleMania match that's worthy, but they have not done anything. Here's the thing, Jay. They have had 4 weeks. 4 weeks of build to do this. And we've seen absolutely nothing.
I mean, the video package last week was nice, but...
Oh, yeah, the video package was nice, but what we got beforehand... honestly, when I heard this match was announced, they should have had me in the week after it was announced. Or at least during the week, but they've given me nothing. I honestly think WWE, the way they are right now, I honestly think they're just coasting until the brand split happens.
And that's the complete wrong thing to do.
Yes, because if you're going to disinterest everybody by not caring about all of your shows leading up to July 19th, then what makes you think they're going to come back and watch your shit?
I don't know. Did you give me, did you say what your dream match was?
Oh no. Golly, there's a lot.
What's number 1?
Cena and Nakamura. Yeah, Cena and Nakamura. Yeah, I'm going with that one.
Okay.
Shoot, we could have gotten it at Bash at the Beach last month, but apparently WWE decided to play us for fools.
Yeah. Okay. Cena versus...
They could have gotten away with that, to be honest with you. They really could have gotten... I just don't get it. Like, seriously, I don't get it. Like, Owens versus Lesnar could have been good. Cena versus Nakamura could have been good.
Did they change up that card?
Like, I don't know if you... Well, here's the thing. Like, I think it's still going to happen, but it's just not going to be like a live event on the network. And they haven't even done anything to, like, advertise it since then. Because usually when it comes to this, like, live event stuff on the network, they usually, like, advertise it at least a month in advance. Or, like, even, like, 3 weeks in advance, but yet they haven't talked about it much. They haven't said anything. It's like they're keeping closed doors on everything until after July 19th. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. So you have anything else that you wanted to talk about? And I like to before you do, I like to remind people, if you'd like to call in to the show, 347-857-2401. Again, the call-in number is 347-857-2401.
Yeah. We may be loud, but we're not going to be hostile to you folks. So.
I don't know. It depends on what you say. Like, I'm not making any promises. Okay. We have someone who's calling in right now.
Oh, man. Already?
Yeah. So this is Drago Lair 10. Hello?
Yes.
What's up?
Hello? Hey.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
What's up?
No problem. Oh, no, just doing good. I wanted to bring up the fact that Sasha Banks got put in the same boat as Daniel Bryan by Vince McMahon, saying that she was accident prone. So that's kind of one of the reasons why she's been pulled off TV, and she's she was pulled off TV. It was first because of that, and then later on during a house show when they were working on bringing her back to TV, she got kneed in the head by a referee on accident, and then she ended up getting a concussion. And after she got that concussion, Vince put her in the same boat as Daniel Bryan. I just wanted to know, did you guys actually think about that? Do you think WWE did a right move, or is it just that they get completely scared of her now?
So I read a little bit more into that story, and apparently, going a little bit deeper into it, there is a report. Somebody's brother-in-law's friends, girlfriends, cousins, sisters, aunties, second, cousin removed. They said that apparently Vince looks at Sasha as if she can like only work one speed, and that's like 100% all the time. The problem, like, and apparently he sees a problem with that. Now I went to the the gutter of the internet wrestling community, the Wrestling Inc. comment sections, and because I do it from time to time just to see what people are talking about. But I do it from time to time to see what people were talking about, and there were a lot of people going off like, okay, well you have somebody out there that's given their all, and this is how you repay them, like going out there and being at 100 all the time. That's a bad thing. But I guess you have to kind of look at it from a business perspective. You have to know. You have to know when to flip that switch on and off. You have to know when, okay, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to deliver a solid performance and everything, but I have to save myself and preserve myself so that when I get to that big stage, that's when I turn it on. That's when, it's balls to the wall or whatever in her case. But it's like, I guess that's, in a sense, he's looking at it like you have to protect yourself so that you're a long-term investment. So we don't want you to burn out really quickly. And I don't know, there's some negatives and positives that come into play with that, because if you have an employee that loves this so much, they're going out there and they're killing it every damn time, you would hope that that person is rewarded. But then again, he is a businessman and he has to look at it from the perspective, okay, do I really want to invest everything in you, and then all of a sudden, boom, I put all of this in you and my world is crushed because you're injured and this happens and that happens. So I mean, me being a big Sasha fan, I want the best from her in WWE, though. Like, of course, that goes without saying.
Oh yeah, and like the funny thing about this is the fact that like it kind of proves that like you can't really do much at these live events, because they always like to do stuff that's not televised. Like they like to do it all the time. And when it comes to Sasha Banks and like what Vince's comments they said, I mean, it really can go both ways. Like it really could, because Jay, when we all watched Takeover Brooklyn, that match against Bayley, we all know it was fantastic. However, I will admit there were
match of all time.
Yeah, but there were times in that matchup where I thought Sasha Banks, because of that crowd, yes, she wanted to like give it her all, but honestly, there were times like where we looked like she had gotten hurt like dozens of times in that matchup. So it's a situation where it's kind of on the performers on how far that they can push themselves to the limit, because yes, the referee's there, but how many times does a referee like actually get involved? And I'll actually give another example. Jay, I don't know if you guys saw what Seth Rollins recently did at a live event, probably like last night, I think it was, on how he kind of did, I forgot what the movie is called, but I know somebody used it in TNA. It was called the Braco Killer. Seth Rollins probably used the Braco Killer on AJ, and that's a situation where I think Seth Rollins was just in the moment, and he didn't really know, because remember, they banned his curve stomp, so he had to try out something new. But I saw the video, and the referee was honestly like, I cannot believe that he just did that. So you gotta know your limits. Like, to me, you just gotta know your limits and know when to give a good performance, because when you do that, the company is gonna say, yes, this person loves this wrestling, but when can we put, what's gonna happen if we put this person on a big stage and they do all this stuff and they actually get hurt?
Alrighty, well, I think
now they was going to put the title on her, but because they put her in the same boat with Daniel Bryan, now they're a little reserved.
Man, like I said, like it really could go either way. But however, we did see what happened with Daniel Bryan in the end. What happened to him when he took too many risks? Well, not necessarily too many risks. He just got hurt too much.
But thank you for calling in, Drago Lair.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. And also, I was the one that sent the question about Sister Abigail.
Oh, cool. Thank you for sending that in. We had a pretty interesting conversation off of that, too. So thank you for sending that in.
Appreciate your call, man.
No problem.
Okay. We are going to go to 915 right now. What's up?
How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling
You're a
from?
long-time listener. My name is Aaron, man. I'm calling from El Paso.
Okay, El Paso, Texas. Okay.
All righty.
Yeah, I used to listen to you all the time, guys.
Oh, well, cool. Well, thanks for listening today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, do you have a question or comment?
Oh, well, do you guys do buy or sells?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Yeah, I got one. I've been thinking about this one with Enzo and Cass.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to separate them, who do you think would have a better run as a singles competitor? And who do you think will win the title first?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Big Cass. That, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. But I know that people are, because I guess they just know the way that, shit works in WWE. They're like predicting a breakup between Enzo and Cass. I'm not saying that you asking this question is dumb. I'm saying that from the perspective of WWE, them making that decision, fucking stupid. Because
It really is.
why would you do that? Enzo Amore right now is already a glorified manager. And that's one of the reasons why I say that, well, shit, that is the reason why I say that not much is going to happen with Enzo in a singles run in WWE, because I don't know if anybody noticed this. I remember, I think it was Charlie, he pointed it out to me when Enzo was in NXT. Enzo only has like 2 moves. And that's not that's not in the John Cena sense where people say the 4 moves of doom, and cause that's a joke. No, I mean literally. Enzo only has like 2 or 3 moves.
Yeah, and also you see it. Yeah, and also you see it in his matchups, like where he always gets the hot tag, and when he gets a hot tag, he pretty much just goes in, handles his business, and nothing happened. I honestly would. I sell this. Like I seriously sell Enzo and Cass. Oh, here's the thing, Cass. He can be big on the main roster. I think we know that, but it's just right now, I don't see why you would break them up because,
makes no sense.
Yeah, you could honestly, like, seriously.
I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah, here's the thing, man. Like, they can make money. Like, seriously, there are dollar signs written all over Enzo and Big Cass just as a tag team. Just in a month in, they already had, like, 4 new catchphrases, I think. And like seriously, Enzo, he's just so comfortable on the mic. Big Cass, he's just there to be the big guy and does his thing. And what I saw this past Monday Night on Raw can actually help this tag team even more. The fact that he sees his partner all laid out, Enzo can automatically just get angry, and then that just automatically just like seriously, they can shoot this team right to the moon. Splitting them up would be a terrible decision right now because they're still both very green in the main roster, and neither would survive. It's almost like a situation with the Revival if they ever came up. Like the Revival, they're good as a team right now, but let's just face it, if they split up right, they'd be eaten alive as singles competitors. Like,
see, hell, as a tag team, I'm scared for the Revival on the main roster.
Oh yeah, me too.
Their style works in NXT, but
and they're generic. Yeah, they're very generic.
That's the thing is, that's not going to work on the main roster. Those main roster fans are going to look at that like, put these motherfuckers on superstars.
Oh yeah,
and it's over for them.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm just worried that they're going to separate him sooner. Because I think Vince McMahon's like high on Cass, and he wants to put him in a singles run.
See, just make Enzo the manager. You don't have to separate them. That would be. Plus, I'm like, I like Big Cass, but I noticed when Enzo was injured and Cass was by himself,
he was drowning a bit.
Yeah, I noticed he was drowning a bit. But then when Enzo came back, I still noticed that nervousness of Cass on the mic and him just not seeming like himself. And if they were to do something like this, break them up very prematurely, extremely prematurely, this is only going to set Big Cass up for failure in the end. So it's like they're going to let their ambitions get the best of them, and them hoping that he's going to be a big star is going to be what prevents him from actually becoming a big star.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You don't want it to be a situation where if Big Cass was still in a tag team, so like we know he's still in a tag team right now, but if you break him up and you shove him down people's throats, you're gonna be right back to the Roman Reigns situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you have any more questions for us?
Not that I can think of right now.
Alrighty, well, if you add any more, just feel free to call in again. We're going to try to do this on a weekly basis, having call in. So thank you for calling in and listening.
Thanks for the call, bro.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
All right, peace.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do calls like back in the day. And
the Vixen days of PWTR.
The what days?
I call them the Vixen days.
What is that?
It's like where you start out really, really from the bottom and then you come up all the way to the top.
Okay, I get you. Yeah. Speaking of coming from the bottom, to where we are now, Charlie and I, we were playing GTA 5, and they have this new mode where you can be like a CEO of your own organization. I named my company PWF Empire. And you don't know like the type of
I saw the photo.
Yes, that was awesome. That was in my office with my secretary in the background there. Like you don't like I'm gonna play that game more often just because of that, because I log in and you are now the CEO of PWF Empire, and I go to the map, PWF Empire offices, high-rise building, and secretary, and name plate on the damn wall. That is nice. And my secretary gives me snacks for free. Good stuff. That is awesome. But anything else you want to talk about?
Let's just hope that WWE just... Well, actually, no. Here's the thing. Did you hear that the possibility that there could possibly be 2 pay-per-views a month after the brand split happens?
I'm hearing a lot of rumors, and I don't like any of them. Like, I'm hearing SmackDown possibly going 3
hours.
I'm hearing what else? That one that you just talked about there. I'm hearing possibly WWE extending the time of the pay-per-view. And you realize like all of this stuff goes to more time. Yes, and realizing that the issue is you need to find a way to optimize the time that you already have. Make sure that you're getting the most out of every single minute on TV right now before you start expanding for the sake of expanding.
Yeah, and the fact that, and get this, is also that they really might bring back the 2 championships, and I'm like, no.
See, when it comes to that, I'm undecided, because either way, it is going to present its own unique case of, I guess, successes and also failures. Because if you have one champion, and that person, has to jump from show to show, what's going to be going on the other show? For example, if Roman Reigns is a champion, he's a sole champion in WWE, and you have his challenger from Raw, what's going to be happening over on SmackDown?
The U.S. title.
And are they just going to switch that up every month?
Will they make the U.S. title exclusively back to SmackDown and the IC title exclusively back to Raw? Or will we see the women's division exclusively on Raw, and we'll see just the tag team division on SmackDown?
Yeah, there are a lot of questions as to what's going to happen here, and I'm not sure of anything. But one thing that I definitely am sure of: don't add more time. Optimize the time that you have already. Make sure you're using every bit of real estate on air right now to the best of your abilities. Like we talked about this many times before with how NXT books their shows. They may not be the most exciting shows, and they may not give you something to jump off the walls every time the show ends. However, every single minute on NXT has a purpose, whether it's to develop a character, whether it's to further a feud, whether it's to introduce somebody or something like that.
Or fresh main events.
Yeah, that's the way that a show should be structured. And I'm hoping that with Ryan Ward, I'm putting a lot on you, man.
I just hope Corey Graves just comes up with Mauro Ronaldo and Jerry Lawler on SmackDown, because I would not get tired of listening to them.
That would be nice. I love that team of Corey Graves and Tom Phillips. Though
they are fantastic.
They are, and they ride that line of, okay, let's make sure that we're entertaining.
It's that Paul Heyman JR type mess right there from back in the day, like where they don't necessarily like or dislike each other, but they're professionals.
Mm-hmm. And it's like they're like, we're going to be entertaining and make sure people, are entertained by us, and we're also going to make sure we focus on what's going on in the ring, because we still have a job to do,
which they do
enhancing talent and narrating the story. They are phenomenal. I love that team. I do. I love that team.
Yeah.
All righty, we got another call on the line here from 614. What's your name and where are you calling from?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How's it going?
My name is Tariq. I'm calling from Columbus.
Oh.
I have a question for you guys. This is gonna bring up an argument, but do you think that the new era of WWE can really fully exist with Vince McMahon around?
No.
Oh, thank you, Cass. Thank you.
I don't
know.
Hey, Jay, you take this one. I gotta take care of something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, see, I don't know if he got all hyped for your answer. He's gonna get mad at me now. See, the thing is, Vince, I understand what you're saying, because maybe there is something that we can agree on. I think that the way in which WWE does business, with the way in which they approach their shows, is fundamentally flawed. And I guess you're looking at that flaw as Vince McMahon himself. The way that I'm thinking,
well, he does approve everything.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
See, I get. See, just so you know, I understand where you're coming from. However,
oh boy,
the thing is, Vince has existed throughout every single era of WWE.
He knows what he's talking about, though.
He's been in the golden era. He's been in that new age of WWE with Bret Hart before we moved
the Ruthless Aggression era,
Attitude Era. Then the Ruthless Aggression era, then whatever the hell this has been.
The modern era, the reality era.
Universe era. They've had a million fucking names for this. Yeah, I'm not going to say that
it hasn't been the same.
I get you.
It hasn't been the same since.
I'm not going to say that, Vince, you shape up and ship out. I can't do that. I can't.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think he has to leave.
I wouldn't think he had to leave because I don't. Here's the thing. It's kind of difficult. Yes, I agree with you, my man. This isn't a new era for me. I see that. But the thing is, it's kind of difficult because, Vince McMahon, the reason why WWE exists today and the way it is pretty much because of him. I think 9 out of 10 times when we focus on the way that the era is right now, we pretty much just focus on what we've seen from previous eras and also the way that the writing was back then. But from a business standpoint, the era of that is fine, and a lot of that is because of Vince McMahon. There are a lot of factors you gotta consider when it comes to who's in control and who's pretty much doing the writing.
Well, when he hires the writer,
that's a good point.
The show WWE has not been the same since WrestleMania 26. After that, it's just been shit.
Honestly, it ain't been the same since 27.
No. 2010 was terrible. Okay? Jay, you say 2015 was the worst year. Look, by 2015, I couldn't even watch it anymore. 2010 was hands down the worst year ever. By far above
there was nothing that I've seen that was worse than 2015. And this is
like I said, I didn't watch it.
Okay.
So I'm not do you watch the product now?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better. It's still missteps. It's a lot of missteps.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see a lot of difference, writing with Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, their feud, how they were tweeners, I think they should go more in that approach because that
absolutely.
heel face dynamic, it totally ruined it. Like WWE got ruined for me when John Cena got hit by a car and still beat Batista in the Iron Quit match. I was like, what the fuck is this? Okay, like what is this? What is this? Like this is not like and I like John Cena now, but like from that period of like 2010 to like 2014, I just could not do it.
Okay, what brought you back? What brought you back?
I started watching your show because I started watching your show in 2009, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like I lost like track of it, and I started watching it again, and I started like hearing what you guys were saying. So I was like, maybe I should check it out again.
See, that's weird because like I wasn't even asking you that question expecting you were gonna say us. Like I was like, I was thinking more so like what feud on TV, like what angle brought you back. But that's pretty cool.
What feud? Ambrose and Lesnar. Their feud, the match is terrible, but their feud leading up to that match, so great. It was it was probably the best program I've seen on WWE TV since Cena Punk.
Okay.
I definitely could see that.
It was like as the way it was built, the way they just like did so much for Ambrose's character. It was just great. Like where has this been?
And it fell so damn flat when it all.
Yes. Hey, man, you're telling me. Hey, man, you're telling me that seeing Vince McMahon like walk into a limo, it blowing up, and then all of a sudden appearing back 2 weeks later didn't drop you away from wrestling back in 2007?
See, I was 11. I was 11, so I didn't care about all that stuff.
Okay.
Like when I first got into, I started watching WWE in 2004 when I was like 8. So like I didn't really start peeping all this stuff out until 2010. That's when I really I was maybe like 14, 15 around this time. So I started I started reading books. I think I read Bret Hart's book around that time, like about a year later, and I started like getting more into like the inside of it, and like it was just, I don't know, like they just started dropping the ball with swagger. Like, come on, like the only fucking good moment of like the last 5 years that I've seen, like only good moments was Miz cashing in. I don't care what nobody says. That was fucking awesome.
I threw a party after that happened. I threw a party. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. The Shield, they were fucking good. Like the Shield. 2014 is when I started teetering off, but the Shield was keeping me in. Like Daniel Bryan, I fucking love Daniel Bryan. Hated the Yes movement. That was the dumbest thing ever. But I love Daniel Bryan. I was so happy that he got that. But I just feel like Vince McMahon, I think he needs to take a step back. He doesn't need to lead. He doesn't. Vince McMahon, you stay in this fucking company till you die. But he needs to take a step back, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now that I agree with.
Yeah, I could definitely understand there. It's always good to get a fresh perspective on things, especially with the world changing up so much since Vince, had his heyday.
He is out of touch. He is out of touch.
But I will say though,
like when I watch his show. Sorry, go ahead. I'm my bad.
I will say though, when it comes to the business side of WWE,
hands down, he's good.
You got it. Like maybe let up some of the reins on the
with creative control.
Yeah, on that side, focus more on like the chairman of the board, CEO. Yeah, I could get that.
Yeah, like because like when I read Hart's book, when I read Bret Hart's book. Like when I watch WWE, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of this when Bret once said, like during Stu's later days as a booker, how like the fans hated the show. Like that's just what this reminds me of. He just feels out of touch. Or when Shawn Michaels said that what's his name? That used to run AWA. What was his name? I can't remember his name.
Vern Gagne?
Yeah, Vern Gagne. He was talking about when they approached him with the idea of being called the Rocker. He said, "Well, do one people confuse that with rocking chair?" Like this is what this reminds me of. like that's what that all reminds me of. Like that's what I'm seeing now. Like I'm just seeing like like I don't know, like, and like it feels like now, like with like NXT writers coming up, and with like Triple H having such a hold on NXT, it feels like his influence is like it's breathing life. Like Vince needs to let more outside. Well, at least I don't know if he does, but from what I'm seeing, I would hope, like from my perspective as a watcher, it seems like it's all Vince McMahon, and I would appreciate if he would let more people control. And don't give Stephanie the women's division. Like somebody else needs to do that. Like, because after Michelle McCool left, just no.
I can get behind that.
Wait a minute, did you just give props to Michelle McCool?
Hell yes. So like,
oh my God.
I did not like her at
this
the time,
guy.
but like when she
Yes.
left, oh, thanks guys, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's one of the one of the underrated segments.
That is when I put the turn on the women's division too. Like that is when everything went to shit. When
Yes.
Michelle McCool left.
Yes,
Yeah,
after
like
she left,
cool.
like I didn't. Yes, like I didn't fully appreciate it at the time, but like once they were gone, it was like it's a whole like what?
That is exactly my line of thinking on it. Like Lay Cool, they annoyed me when they were there, but I didn't appreciate them until they left, and I was like, God damn, like they were good.
They made it interesting.
Yes, they made it fun.
Yeah, and Michelle McCool, like and on top of that, like she had a great character. She wasn't the best on the mic, but she was good. Like she could cut a good, except that Piggy James thing. That was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad. But like Michelle McCool could cut a decent promo, and she was believable in the ring. Like her kicks, like it sounded like she was legit knocking them out like with that. And then she have like Styles Clash. Like was it Styles Clash or finisher?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Like the face breaker. The face breaker is what she called it.
Yeah,
like, it was believable.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about that was like, oh, sorry, my man. Go ahead.
No, you good, Cass. I'm my bad.
All right. One of the things I was gonna say, like, it is one of those situations where you don't really appreciate. Because here's the thing, I actually wasn't really knowing the product all that well back then, and I legitimately hated Michelle McCool and Layla. But now, when I look back on it now, I'm like, these guys, these women were legit heels. Like they knew how to get heat.
Yeah,
I miss.
Yeah, they did, and they were good. Like I haven't seen that. I started getting because what started getting me back into WWE really was you guys talking about Bayley and Sasha Banks. Because that was like the biggest gaping hole for me was there was no like because the women's division was terrible. That was the biggest thing. Like if everything else would have stuck, but the Divas division would have been good, I think I could have still watched. But it was just terrible. And then like I got back into Bayley and Sasha Banks, and I was like, where have you been hiding these people? Like, where has this been? What? Like is this
guy is great.
Is this the same company? Like where has this been? Like WWE? Like what? Like no, I didn't. Honestly, when I first started watching NXT, I didn't believe that it was the same company. I didn't. Like I'm like, this is not WWE. This is his own thing. Like these guys are too good here.
Yeah, like, believe it or not, it is.
Like it's, and then that makes and then it's like, how is developmental? And you guys say this all the time, but how is developmental better than the main roster? Like, come on now.
Yeah, it
what
definitely
is
should
this?
be. But I really enjoyed your call. Thank you for calling.
Oh yeah, man, appreciate it.
We got to go now because we're about to wrap the show up soon. We got a few more calls that we need to get to. But thank you for calling in. We're gonna try to do this more often, so you're more than welcome to call in again.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay, this is now 617. What's up?
How's it going?
Hey.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Gears.
Hey, so I wanted to share a few thoughts about the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns feud that's going on right now, and I sort of want to get your feelings on it.
Wait, first, who's this?
This is Julian Campbell from the comment section. We've been arguing a little bit.
Oh, what's up?
But
Oh yeah, you said Punk shook things up and it's been a new era since 2011. So he's the guy to blame for all of the bullshit we see then. It's his fault.
I think it's been a little bit. I think it's been a little bit better since then. I think things have gotten more serious and a little bit better in the ring since then.
Okay. I think one of the big things that has
All right,
affected this new era of WWE, though, I will say before you go on, is 3-hour Raws.
hell yeah.
Oh yeah, 3-hour Raws have been tough.
So I wonder what the product would be like if we didn't have those around. But what were you going to say about the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins?
Yeah, so the last caller touched on it a little bit, just about like the tweener stuff, because I like how they're trying to make it more complex, but then at the same time, I don't understand why when Seth Rollins gets in the ring and actually comes out, he's a complete heel. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a complete contradiction.
Oh yeah, it
And like
really
I feel
is.
like they did it better. I feel like they just did it better with like the AJ Styles and the Roman Reigns feud because they were keeping them both tweener. But now they have one person that they're trying to make like a tweener and a heel at the same time. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's the big thing that threw me off with that with Seth Rollins and who he is in WWE right now. When you had him come out and completely trash the crowd after Extreme Rules, and then the BS that he did the week before last on Raw, like those two things, it shows that WWE is forcing him to that heel side of things, and I just don't understand it. Like and you would think that they would look at what happened with AJ Styles and Roman Reigns and say, this was kind of nice. Maybe we should, do a little bit more of this in the future. But no, not at all. And I don't know how in the hell we get into a situation where AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, who probably were never in the same damn room, much less the same ring with each other before the Royal Rumble, and we got a great feud out of them, and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns with all of this history between them, and they can't get it right.
I'm still gonna hold. I don't know. Well, Jay, you heard me talk about this a couple weeks ago on how I felt as if it was Seth Rollins staying true to himself and to that heel persona of like, why should he change his philosophy on things when he's just because he's only been gone for 7 months, just because people send him all this nice stuff. But however, I also felt as if you're gonna turn him face, you need to do it organically, or at least if you don't want to do that, at least find some type of way to basically do what you did with AJ, not necessarily make him a heel, but not make him a face, just basically doing what any regular person would probably logically think of. And that's what they're not doing.
And you sold me on that whole thing about Seth Rollins and this journey, but where I jumped off the boat, I was like, okay, I'm not seeing any development. Like, I'm not seeing the journey. Like, they were supposed to give me little glimmers of hope that the change was coming to Seth Rollins. And I didn't want to see the same friggin' character. Like, I wanted something different. And when it was clear that they had no intentions of adding that on, I was like, you know
what's funny?
I'm taking my ass back to shore. Bye.
You know what's funny? And I'm going to let you talk real fast, but I just wanted to say, like, I thought about this. I mean, we saw the video package last week, and, like, I asked myself the question, why as a casual fan am I supposed to boo Rollins? This may sound weird, but I think they are organically turning him face, just not physically, if that makes sense.
No.
Or
I haven't seen it. I'm not saying that I'm like 100% right. It's just saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's just that I am not, like, I need to see it.
I have to see little things like this though, because even in a video package, I take that into consideration. Like, maybe they are organically doing it, just not in the way that we expected it. But yeah, I get your point.
Well, Julian, you have anything on this whole Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns situation?
I just feel like, especially what makes it worse is that they show the video packages like on TV. It'd be one thing if you had the option to watch them on the network like they've done previously, so there's a little bit of separation. But now it's just like completely mixed in, which makes it worse, I feel like.
Yeah, because you're then incorporating it into canon, so to say. And it's a part of the story.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, that's all I have to say.
alrighty. Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you, my man.
Yep.
Alrighty. Okay, we have one more call on the board right now from 225. This is, I believe, Heartless Ash.
Yes, sir.
What's up? Thank you for calling in.
What's up, Jay? What's up, Cass?
How's it going, bro?
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Yeah, I just got a quick thing I want to say. I'm a huge Randy Orton fan, and dude, I am dying to see an F5 turned into an RKO. Like, I know it can be done, bro. Like, I am so psyched. Like, Orton's like my favorite wrestler, dog, right now. Well, of all time for right now, yo.
See, I'm a big fan of Randy Orton too. Like, I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I've been through some stuff with Randy Orton.
I've been watching you for a minute, bro. I've been watching you for a minute. Like, my brother put me on to this show, yo.
Okay,
like,
well,
right.
Thanks, brother Ash.
When Charlie was on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, brother
Okay.
Ash.
But yeah, like I've been through some stuff with Randy, or going all the way back to 2009, because I people are probably tired of hearing me say this, but when Randy Orton is at his best, he is the best. But the problem is we don't get to see that too often, and anytime that I don't see that, anytime that I don't see Randy Orton living up to his potential, I get pissed off. I really do, and I lash out, and like I have a big problem with that. But yeah, we got a chance to see a little bit of Randy Orton fulfilling his potential in that feud with Seth Rollins, and like I really want to see him versus Brock too. I really want to see that.
I want to see that too, and I want him to finish that feud with Bray Wyatt too, man, because the story is he's coming back to help John Cena. And it's like, dude, why help John Cena with the Bullet Club? Put him back in the feud. This is what I think they should do. All right, both of them should be in Money in the Bank. And then when Battleground or whatever the fuck comes up next, Battleground, they're going to, there's a no contest, protect both superstars. And then at SummerSlam, end it all. You know what I mean? But I would even though I'm a big Randy Orton fan, I would make Wyatt go over. You know what I mean? Because Randy doesn't have nothing else to prove. You know what I mean? He really doesn't have nothing else to prove. This is Wyatt. He needs to come up and.
Honestly, the way I would do it, I would set Wyatt as the face, and I would actually put Orton as the heel, because I think that would honestly work. If you do,
that would work too. Oh, definitely.
Because it isn't. I feel as if honestly, that feud could be good for both men if you think about it, because Bray Wyatt, he's just coming back, and if Randy Orton ever comes back from being with his hot wife, then he'll definitely be valuable. But yeah,
so that's what he's been up to.
Yes, that's what he's been up to.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. But I feel as if that could be a fresh feud for both of them, and honestly, you don't really know what they want to go with both those guys. So yeah, and honestly, that's a feud that I could believe Wyatt could win.
Oh yeah, definitely a SummerSlam. One of the top would be a top match.
This is WWE.
Yeah, man. I just want to call in, talk to you guys, check y'all out. I really love y'all show, and keep up the good work, man.
Thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
No
thank
problem.
you for interacting with the show. I think this is awesome. Like, Cass, would you say that this was a successful night, getting some calls from the viewers and things like that?
If you think this is a successful night,
90 seconds.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Go ahead and thumbs up this video if you liked it. I mean, like, I don't like forcing people to, not that they would, do it just because I, said, oh, you better fucking thumbs up this video. But like, I like to throw it out there. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, then give it a thumbs down. Like, I want to get people more into the mode of like actually, rating the video and things like that, just so we know what you guys are doing, we know where you guys are coming from, all of that good stuff. So feel free to go ahead and rate it as you see fit. I definitely want to incorporate calls on this show on a weekly basis. Now, I will let you guys know this is different from PWF Empire Live. There won't be any calls on PWF Empire Live, but just to give this show a fresh twist and things like that, I think it would be cool to incorporate calls on it. So yeah, thank you guys for calling in. Cass, anything to add before we head off air?
Oh no, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. And hopefully, we can get it down to entertain you folks out there.
Okay, I think this will be a good note to end on. Julian in the chat. Last time you guys took calls, I was in middle school.
10 seconds.
That's how long I've been listening to this show. I've had a few name changes though. That is fucking awesome. Middle school, man, that makes me feel old because I've been doing I started this after I graduated from high school. So you were in middle school after I was already out of high school. That's crazy. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you later. Peace.
Later days.